Jurassic Jones here. As I go over this channel, the adventures of Indiana Jones and the creatures of Jurassic Park. Now, in today's video, now for the Indiana Jones franchise, I think there should be reboot to kind of change the franchise up. After all, Harrison Ford's not getting younger. And putting out Indiana Jones was somewhat supposed to be the American James Bond, and James Bond is famous for always replacing actors. This is how I think they should reboot the franchise. And you may have your own opinions, but this is just mine. And this is who I think should play this is who I think should play as the new Indiana Jones. This is how I'd make it, and this is how it would go. Now, you can say it's a bit, but this was just me. My head and still probably needs a full script layout. So, yeah. And this will, and yeah. That's, oh yeah. And that's considering there might be some problems, and since we just still probably need some work, as I said. But yeah. And then considering if any Disney executive is watching this, please, this is how you should make in the Indiana Jones reboot. Please do it like this. So, yeah. And that's considering who will be on new Indiana Jones. Now, a lot of people for years have always said it should be Chris Pratt as the new Indiana Jones. Well, I like Chris Pratt, but I always kind of didn't like that idea, even when I was a kid. But I have come up with another actor who could play Indiana Jones. Another one. One who has dealt with demons, angels, and the things of heaven and hell. Jensen Ackles. From his most famous show, Supernatural. And as a Supernatural fan, I think he should play Indy. He kind of has this. I could see him playing Indiana Jones very well. That's considering he all knows how to look like awesome in a cat. I feel like he can do that as Indy. So, Jensen Ackles will be the new Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Legend of Atlantis. And it will be about, well, as you can tell, Atlantis. And it will be your normal story about Atlantis, and it will be set, and it will still have set place during the 1930s, but sometime in mid 1930s. And when it's reboot, you can still go it being set place in the 30s. And can even do stuff that the original trilogy didn't do, like Atlantis. Still weird. I'm gonna have to make artifacts in Indiana Jones with Atlantis. And who will be the villain? Now, of course, it will be. I hate the YouTube moderators. Thank you. The naughty German people from World War II. I very much don't want to get this video struck by a certain web company. And the main villain would be played by Misha Collins. He's also from Supernatural, and he played my favorite character, Castiel. And he also would be a good villain. And he also already did a German accent in a Supernatural episode where they went to an alternate world and Cass was German, even though he was American in this world. So the later seasons of Supernatural get kind of, weird, one episode they meant Scooby-Doo. And I feel like he can bring this kind of villainy role. Especially rooting out gas was somewhat intimidating, so yeah. Now, for the love interest, every kind of indie movie and game have always had a female love interest. The original Indiana Jones, and the most two recent movies, Crystal Skull and Dial, have always had Marion. And the games and the books, the books, and basically any old media outside the movies have always kind of had indie, beautiful, romantic interests. Not at all. And this would be no symbol. But I couldn't really think of like any actresses that could actually fit the bill. That I could actually see being an indie movie. And which is weird. So and this was the only one I could think of off the top of my head that could be in the movie. So yeah. So yeah, that's considering this love interest would essentially be it's kind of tough and buddy woman, as kind of seems like most of the actual good indie love interests are usually tough and woman, and she would be played by Scarlett Johansson, most notably from the Avengers, and she's also going to be in the new Jurassic World movie. So yeah, yeah, and also, so yeah, it is, and she would fit this role kind of great, with how I think Scarlett Johansson, with how she has played Black Widow, could actually be a good actress for this. So yeah. And also, this would mean Dean Castillo and Black Widow would all be in the same movie. But this is just my thoughts for how I think an Indiana Jones reboot would go. Now I know people have other thoughts about how it would go, and this was just mine. Especially when I've always kind of been just because I always, even the first time I saw like Supernatural, I thought Dean could be a good indie. That's just my thoughts. And if you like Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park and anything of Steven Spielberg, I talk a lot about those two franchises here. And heck, I'm about to make a probably like 40-minute review of Jurassic World Dominion. But see you next time, archaeologists and paleontologists.